Yup. Brad Keselowski and Tony Stewart are in the news again. But this time, it's for a different cause, especially for Tony. First and foremost, before I start off, let me say this, that it's only going to be about 15 to 20 minutes. Give me 15 to 20 minutes to vent and hear what I think about Tony Stewart and Brad Keselowski being fined for their actions at the 2014 Bank of America 500 at Charlotte Motor Speedway last Saturday. First and foremost, I'll get all the unnecessary reference out of the way. First and foremost, I swear, whoever, that one ESPN cameraman, the one cameraman that followed Brad Keselowski, and then Matt Kenseth attacked him, should win simply some sort of a medal for excellence of covering stuff, especially on ESPN, no less. Second of all, I swear it had WWE written all over it. It's like that god awful, infamous Randy Orton, John Cena outside of this arena that looked super fake back in, I think it was early in the year. It was during the Royal Rumble build-up. That looked like garbage. So, well, then again, it's John Cena and Randy Orton. A piss-poor version of Manning versus Brady, except Manning versus Brady is more tolerable to watch and more legit and entertaining and exciting, depends how you view it, than Orton versus Cena, part 8,999. And guess what? They're going to have another match again in Hell in a Cell. And that's my unnecessary references of wrestling in this debate. So basically, first and foremost, if you guys have not found out, basically Matt Kenseth attacked Brad Keselowski in the middle between two haulers, and you saw the video, you know the rest. I'm not going to go any further. What basically transpired is that Brad Keselowski and Matt Kenseth made contact. Kenseth hit the wall. Then after the race, Brad Keselowski epically failed to wreck Denny Hamlin. He completely botched his attempt to wreck him. He tried to turn him, and he didn't hit him at all. Instead, he turned sideways. Then Brad Keselowski decided to simply try to ram Matt Kenseth with his window net and everything down, and the cool-off lap, while they're entering up pit road, and then Brad Keselowski decides to ram Matt Kenseth, and he hit Tony Stewart. So yes, like 10 seconds later, Tony Stewart decided to ram back Brad Keselowski from his rear of the car, and Stewart went backwards and rammed into Keselowski, causing the damage, which solved the issue that I was wondering. How did Brad Keselowski got the damage? Then I found out it was Tony Stewart who did it. Then Brad Keselowski decides to go on pit road, does a little burnout in the garage. Denny Hamlin was behind him, and then he went forward. Denny Hamlin was furious, but the crew member stopped him right there. What Brad Keselowski did was just unnecessary. And guess what? He got fined $50,000 and is on probation for the next 4 races. Denny Hamlin and Matt Kenseth, what is their penalty? 0. Nothing. Tony Stewart, $25,000. First and foremost, you already had a brawl with Casey Mears and Marcus Ambrose. They got fined. Jeff Gordon shoved Matt Kenseth in that god-awful Bristol race of 2006. Gordon got fined. Jeff Gordon and Jeff Burton had that bullshit of a wreck at Texas in 2010. No one got fined. Burton should have been fined anyways. Nobody remembers the fact that did not brought up the caution. It was Martin Truex Jr. who hit the wall at Texas that brought up the caution. Remember that? That's your history lesson for you. Remember that? Gordon's wreck with Jeff Burton, for those who don't remember, did not brought up the caution. This happened after the yellow. Nobody got fined. The holy miracle of the masses. Nobody got fined from that, even though they should have fined Burton. I'm not going to forgive that incident. I will not forgive that incident from Burton, nor from Boyer. Matt Kenseth, I let that one go. At least they've reconciled their differences and they're in good terms. If you haven't read that Gordon interview as far as what he thought about the incident and how Matt Kenseth's actions was completely out of character, as Kevin Harvick said it, when I heard about this incident beforehand, I was thinking, Matt Kenseth is showing character, he's showing emotion, because you don't see that from Kenseth. I think he has shown more emotion since he was a Joe Gibbs, because most people view Matt Kenseth as a guy with no personality, to a certain degree. Matt Kenseth, what he did, it made sense. Because Brad Keselowski, what he did is just he went straight, ran over somebody when pretty much I'm not sure if he had his belt still on, but the window net was down. Go watch the footage. Go watch the footage. That simple. But do I feel like Tony Stewart deserved the fine? No, I don't think so. Here's the thing about Tony. Yes, what he did was kind of to teach Brad a lesson for ramming him, because Tony probably thought he did it on purpose. So obviously Tony being Tony, he did that. But however, Tony Stewart has been through enough shit already. $25,000 fine doesn't help him jack wad. Nothing. Hogwash shit is what I'm trying to apply. Tony Stewart, he just ram him in the back and he gets fined $25,000. Well, then again, Jeff Gordon got fined too for wrecking Clint Bowyer at Phoenix, and thank goodness. You know what this incident did as far as future packages, as far as highlights in the sports, and anything within the next number of years? The brawl between Keselowski and Kenseth that led to the crew members fighting in the hauler. Thankfully, hopefully that will replace everything that happened in Phoenix in 2012, as well as Texas 2010. Watch that not happen. It'll probably be included in the trifecta of the memorable fights along with the 79 Daytona 500. First and foremost, do you think Tony Stewart's fine was fair or not? Do you think he should have been fined? And more importantly, did he deserve the fine? Or you think it was complete bullshit and he did not deserve the fine, or the amount that he was fined, $25,000? What do you think? Tony Stewart was fined fairly, or he didn't deserve to be fined? Second of all, do you think Brad Keselowski was fined fairly? Third and foremost, should Matt Kenseth and Denny Hamlin been fined as well? Personally, being basically the only guy that talks about NASCAR around YouTube, except for like very few channels out there, Tony Stewart, in my opinion, should have not been fined. In my opinion, he's been through enough already. It's been a miserable year in general for Tony. But I understand why he did it, but at the same time, basically, you intentionally wreck somebody in the post-race, you'll probably get fined, which I see that. I'll look at both views. Yes, what he did was intense. What he basically did, was it necessary? Maybe, maybe not. What Brad Keselowski did in the pits and in the garage was completely unnecessary. Trying to wreck him where there's so many cars and the race is over. Look, if Brad Keselowski would have done like a Kyle Busch maneuver to Ron Hornaday type of thing, a little high at a higher level, he would have had Kenseth, Keselowski, Tony Stewart, and Brett frickin' Moffitt involved. They would have the same guys involved, but he would have probably had Brett Moffitt involved in that as well. Look at the onboard of Tony Stewart. If you see Brett Moffitt's card there, if he would have just vent hell on Kenseth before the brawl happened, they probably would have brawled him outside of pit road. But my question is, let me see. I don't remember if any members are fined for this mess. I don't think they are. I don't think they were fined, the crew members. I think they should have been fined. Look with Kevin Harvick and Ricky Rudd at Richmond, 2003. They fined and suspended crew members. The guy who was doing like a chokehold or whoever crew members watched, whoever did it, probably should have been fined or suspended. Well, then again, I can see why Keselowski didn't lost points, because look at Gordon. For example, Jeff Gordon. He didn't lost. No, wait. Did he lost one? No, yes, he did. Yes, he did. I think Keselowski should have been penalized points. But I can see why they probably didn't want to do it, because it will affect the chase. and he's already right now he's in the bottom 4 going into Talladega, where he basically. I'm not even going to talk about Talladega for this year, especially with Brad, because that's where the whole problem began with me at Talladega. The Joey Logano thing is at Texas. I'm not even going to bring up Logano in this because it's not about Logano. All right, let's take a look at quotes. Let's take a look at quotes. For example, if I see is, yeah, Darrell. This is what Darrell Waltrip has to say. Darrell Waltrip has to say when it comes to Tony Stewart's involvement. He pretty much quote, "It's unfortunate Stewart got dragged into this. Because of the incident in New York, the media know who Stewart is, saw what happened, and jumped to their own conclusions and made judgments. That's unfortunate because Stewart had nothing to do with what happened Saturday night." Exactly. He had nothing to do with it. The only reason he got into it is because he rammed him in the back. He rammed him in the back. I think Stewart's fine, in my opinion, is somewhat bullshit. $25,000 and being a detriment. That's what the rulebook said, of being a detriment was one of the reasons he got fined. No. My opinion, he should have not been fined. Maybe there's a reason because of what he did, was none of his business. Is between Keselowski, Kenseth, and Hamlin. But then again, Kenseth physically attacked Keselowski by running into him and pretty much somewhat shoved him into the haulers. He didn't get fined. All that Gordon did is shove Matt Kenseth. He got fined for it. That's complete bullshit still to this day. Luckily, they didn't fine him, if I recall. I'm going to go check, since I only got about less than 10 minutes of this discussion that I said I will talk about. Let me see. I don't remember if they were fined for this. I don't think he was fined. No, he was not fined. So I remember they didn't mention anything about Gordon being fined other than what happened in Phoenix, which I will never, ever, ever forget Boyer for that bullshit from Martinsville. I will not. Neither, to a certain degree, Jeff Burton. I will not. Because both the Texas one was bullshit. The Phoenix one, Boyer had it coming, basically. Luckily, he did not got suspended, and luckily he won the frickin' race at Homestead. 2012, to a certain degree, was trash. 2010 was trash. 2013 was garbage. 07 was hell. When it pertains to everything that I have mentioned in my previous videos when it comes to the point system. Alright. Do you think Brad Keselowski and Tony Stewart were fined fairly? Do you think Matt Kenseth and Denny Hamlin should have been fined? That I'll leave you I'll leave you to discuss. But at the end of the day, my opinion, Brad Keselowski, yes, I'm glad he got fined because his actions was basically dumb as it is, in my opinion. I don't think dumb is a good word for that. What he did basically was not necessary. But then again, racing is racing. Boys have at it. So obviously he's doing that quite fine. But I think he should have been penalized a couple of points. It should have been penalized, but I can see why they wouldn't penalize him because, one, that would essentially eliminate him unless he wins at Talladega or fucks up the whole field 6 laps down and inadvertently collects it. And inadvertently would assist with Trevor Bayne as well. Because he wanted him fine, but I think, given the circumstances, I see why they didn't find Kenseth, but I think they somewhat should have, in my opinion. Same with Denny Hamlin, but Hamlin basically didn't really do anything. He tried to, but they won't let him. Kenseth found a way, and then the whole thing happened. That's basically it for this video. And I'll give you an update. As far as the Jimmie Johnson Jeff Gordon comparison, that will be coming soon. I'm not sure when. The Ford EcoBoost 400 starting grid will be around the corner. I'm not sure at this moment it will be on this channel. I'm not sure. I'll think about it, but it will be around somewhere. It will be around somewhere. All right, that's it here with my minor mini debate. It's a short video, yes. I know I gave out very brief details, but college life, I don't need to vent about it because it's just Brad Keselowski and Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin, and Matt Kenseth for you people. It's just what it is. But thank goodness, I hope this fight is gonna replace everything that happened with Gordon. Likewise, they won't, but I hope. I really hope they do. But I'm not gonna vent about that god-awful video package when they showed the safety in racing, because basically none of those had harm to do shit what it was supposed to cover. And I'm not gonna tell you what it is. I won't tell you what was the topic about. That I'll leave it to myself. And for you to think about. Alright, till we meet again. All I gotta say this is Jeff Burton and Clint Boyer, I probably will not forgive them for what they did unless everything is completely settled. The Jeff Burton ones is somewhat. The Clint Boyer one, I have no fucking idea. And again, it's Boyer for you. And for the whole Brad Keselowski and Matt Kenseth, I actually enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it because for once it's not Gordon. And for once something exciting happens in the chase. Yes, basically when it comes to the chase, other than Jimmy Johnson having problems, it's rather boring. Anyways, yes, I won't end this without saying fuck the chase. To a certain degree, fuck the penalties. I think they should have gotten more. There should have been more involved. And also, last but not least, fuck the chase. End of story. Good night.